Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of HYPERIZED. I'm Hyperdrive, your host, co-host of the Stoned and Hyper Show. And in episode 2, we're going to take a little deeper dive into a very talented customizer and a really big part of the community that the Stoned Mandalorian and I are creating over the past year. And that would be none other than Eric. You would know him as Galactic Artisan Customs. Eric, say hey to everybody.
Awesome. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Eric, Galactic Artisan Customs. Been watching you guys for quite a while now, becoming a part of your community. So thanks for having me here.
Oh, you're most welcome. And the whole goal of Hyperized is to try to give really talented artists in the community a platform to sort of flex a little bit, showcase some of their work, and then the idea being that maybe we'll revisit in about 2 months and see the projects that you have going on right now, and then we'll follow up in 2 months and see how they turned out, what twists and turns happened along the way. So I'm excited to get into this. So take a moment and just tell us about the type of things you like to do, the type of projects you like to work on, and where you take your inspiration.
So I started customizing probably like towards the beginning of the year, actually. So it's only been a short time. I started with dioramas and like the character custom, like the custom figures. I'm doing world building right now, so I'm creating like my own. I've got a name for a world that I'm working on. I'm working on a desert city for that world, and then I've got other cities that I got planned to start. So that's pretty fun. It's just I got all this pent up creativity, and I got to get it out somehow. So it's just Star Wars has always been a passion of mine. So it makes sense. You got to put those two together.
All right. So now I guess the big question is, what's the name of your world and your city?
Okay, so the world is called Nexarion. It's kind of like Earth in that it has a bunch of different biomes all over, which kind of gives me more creative freedom to build whatever kind of cities I want. The city that I'm building right now is most similar to like Mos Eisley. It's a desert city. It's called Arcos. It's pretty cool though. I've built one building so far. I've got like an alleyway built. Got a lot going on there though.
Nice. All right. And so what era of Star Wars are we talking about, and what scale?
Okay, so I only work I haven't tried 1/18 scale yet, but I'm interested to try that. I've only built 1/18 scale or 1/12 scale right now, 6-inch.
Yep.
So that's what my dios are built in.
Nice. Okay.
I'm thinking this is going to be shortly. This is about the same time period as like the Mandalorian, Ahsoka.
Yep. So that sort of 5 to 10 years after Return of the Jedi is kind of where you're at. Yeah.
You got Imperial remnants around and stuff like that. I really like that part of the story where the Empire's still there, but they're kind of working in the shadows, and there's just a lot of interesting stuff going on.
That's so funny you should say that, because I have always kind of considered myself, my favorite era is that Rise of the Empire era, post Revenge of the Sith, pre New Hope. That's always kind of been my comfort zone. But over the last 3 or 4 years, I have also been dabbling in the post Empire era. And I'm not even a huge sequel trilogy fan. I'm not a hater on it. I thought there were some cool parts of it, but I do really like that post Return of the Jedi, pre Force Awakens era. There's a lot of interesting things happening in that era, and yeah.
It's cool to see how the Empire is like rebuilding and stuff and just coming out of nowhere and just seeing like little groups of them come up. I like the like battle, like tattered troopers that you see coming back and stuff. It's just cool.
So that was one of the first things that I noticed with your work, is that you really like or seem to focus on that sort of off-camera trooper type of design, at least from what the work that I've seen of yours. And I follow your stuff pretty closely, and you have a wide canvas that you work on. But I particularly like those troopers, those clones and troopers that you do, and post Empire era stormtroopers that have that weathered, worn look.
Yeah.
Do you have any close by that you could show us right now?
Let me see here. I got this is, sorry for being in front of the camera there. I've got, I don't know how well you can see it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My weathered clone. He's like a desert clone. I like this one because you can kind of like feel the sand on his armor. I put like a dust like thing on there, so you can feel it. It's pretty cool. There's a custom blaster that he's got, which is pretty cool. I kind of tore apart. I'm terrible with the names, but
yeah. Awesome. And you know, it's funny. I'm glad you grabbed that one because that was one of the biggest. That was one of my favorites that you have done. I saw some interesting videos and clips of that particular trooper, and I was going to ask you. So when it comes to the weathering, what is your blend? Like, how do you get that very signature weathered look that you have that you've developed?
So I mean, there's like a few steps. Like the process on this guy was, so that was just a regular phase 2 clone. I took and added like the black, like along the edges, anything that is raised that would kind of take dirt on quicker than anything else. I made that darker. I just kind of looked at it like, how would this get weathered if it was really out there? And I tried to use logic and put that to work. And then for the sand, I would add some tan color, and then I've got a weathering kit that I got from Hobby Lobby, which is pretty awesome. It's basically makeup powder, which also works just the same, I've found. But you put that on there and then just give it a little clear coat, and magic happens.
That's exactly how I did it. So I don't know if you've seen any of my how-to videos, but I talk about weathering powders all the time. And they are so key, especially for dioramas, weather, weapons, all of those things. That weathering powder, I couldn't agree more. You know, they just work so beautifully, and I think it actually looks more realistic. A lot of times people talk about washes, and there's nothing wrong with a good wash, but sometimes I've noticed, like, if you are on Tatooine or Jakku or a sun-bleached planet, it's really more about sun bleaching and fading than it is about grime and grease. And those weathering powders do a nice job with that.
They do. I mean, the washes are definitely good to do. I just feel like they're not the key player when you're weathering. I feel like you got to do that as an addition, and there's other stuff that you got to add to it to make it look realistic.
All right, wait a minute. We're gonna say that again. They're not the key player, right?
Yeah. I feel like it's not the star of the show. It's like a backup singer. You got to have other stuff though.
Right. And everybody, I am not disrespecting anyone's technique, because everyone has their own. They're all bringing their own thing to the table. But I've said this many times, where I think sometimes weathering is maybe a little bit too heavy-handed, and sometimes the black washes are not exactly that. Sometimes I feel like there's too heavy of a hand applied with those things.
You know? Yeah. And then I feel like people, like what I see is the weathering and stuff that they're adding on. You got to remember what scale you're working with too.
Exactly.
So you got to keep it to the scale that you're working with, which is difficult sometimes because they're really small and we're not. But
right.
That's important too.
I agree. That's a really good point. The scale weathering at different scales looks different, right? So that's a good way to phrase that, for sure. Now, the other thing I noticed is you seem to have a really cool, what I'm calling like an imperial color palette, because a lot of your work is so consistently similar in the best way possible. So in other words, you seem to have like a galactic or an imperial color palette. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So when I customize something, I try to, like, when I do a trooper, when I'm thinking of it, I'm thinking of the whole squad, not just that trooper. So I'll try to do a few of them, just so I got a group that just gives me more options to display them, more options, kind of like write stories about them, take pictures, just everything.
Right. Do you ever mix in any non-traditional colors with your work that sort of make it stand out or make it unique?
I haven't yet. Like, I mean, there's the, I guess it's not really non-traditional. I did this Mandalorian recently, covered in gold foil.
Oh, damn. Look at that. That looks great.
That's a little different from what I normally do. I dyed over that, which turned out pretty cool. But I haven't tried anything crazy yet. When my brain tells me to do it, I will though.
Right. Now you said that you writ dyed some of that Mandalorian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of just giving the whole figure a bath in there. So that's
Yep.
usually what I do.
Yeah.
This was a project that I started a while back. I wanted to gold foil over his armor, and I thought that would look cool. It was a really tedious process, so I kind of gave
Yes.
it halfway through. There's probably better ways to do it than I was. I was using what is it, Mod Podge, which probably not the best way, but anyways, so I took him and dunked him in Rit dye a couple times, and then I gave him a pretty cool look. I filled in some of the cracks with black and
Yep.
custom capes and stuff like that on there.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think you really excel at is I really love some of the custom capes and soft goods that you do. You have a very unique signature look to it. It works well with Imperials and Mandalorians and other figures. So tell me a little bit about how you do your soft goods.
Oh man, a lot of trial and error. I can't get to. I just moved my room around the other day, so like stuff is kind of everywhere. But
I hear you.
so I've got like a briefcase just full of fabric and stuff. My mom does a bunch of stuff with that, so I'll get random pieces from her. But it's a lot of trial and error. I'll cut pieces up, see if that fits. It doesn't, try it again. I do a lot of the tattering on it, so I'll just cut like little pieces off the edges. With this guy, this is my first wired cape that I've tried.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
So I got a wire in both edges on there. But I always try to do the edges just like they're walking on it, kind of up it. I'm just trying to use logic to see what would be worn on it.
Right. Forgive me, I've got the town doing tree work right outside my yard today, so it is what it is.
They're actually doing the same right here.
So it never fails. Every time I do a video, there's somebody doing tree work out in the public streets, So anyways, yeah. But yeah, it's funny. I mentioned color and textures and things like that because something that I do, I've been doing customizing for many decades now, and my tastes and my color palette and my interests change every several years like everyone else's, and then we get influenced by different media that come out, and it's not always Star Wars media. Sometimes I find that other media properties that I enjoy somehow make their way into some of my custom work, and lately what I've been doing is I've tried to take advantage of when I go to the hobby store, I try to pick a color that's really sort of way off of my color palette, and I try to challenge myself by using that color or incorporating it into something to sort of push my creative boundaries. And you might have seen lately, I've done some custom GI Joes, and some of those GI Joes are non-traditionally colored, to say the least. But back in the day, the GI Joe line in the early 90s, they kind of went Technicolor. They scrapped the classic camouflage and they went into sort of neon colors and out of bounds.
Right?
What's that?
They were like space ones, right?
There were some space ones and like Toxic Avenger type colors and things.
I remember some of that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And while they were not my favorite, I have gained an appreciation for them over the following decades because they are exciting. There's something exciting about some of those. And so I thought it would be fun to sort of push my limits and use non-traditional colors in Star Wars customs and things. And so that's led to the creation of figures like this, where it's like this almost like neon aqua blue.
Yeah.
And somehow I kind of thought that I said, this is not really a traditional Star Wars color, but I'm going to challenge myself to push the color palette sort of out of bounds,
Definitely.
and then and that led to this one. And this is a GI Joe figure, and this is sort of a lime green GI Joe figure on the twist on a traditional Cobra Bat Trooper.
That one, yeah,
it's cool. And so I think it's fun to sort of you reach a point in your artistry. It's kind of like when your favorite band goes through that weird phase and they make an album that's totally different than everything else they've ever done, but they're just trying to push the envelope, Yeah. How do you push the envelope in your work, or do you try to stick to traditional?
I I mean, honestly, I'm not even thinking about that. I
Right.
like got a lot going on in my mind, so when I have an idea, I'm just trying to think of how I can make it come out and into real life. So
Right.
I just get these crazy ideas and I make them.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Recent one
That's
show you
yeah.
the toy shop. It's still a work in progress, but
Oh, that's cool, man. Okay, what's going on in there? It looks like you have, are those figures on a shelf or something?
yeah. So those are
Oh,
all
awesome.
the bitty pops, and then the what is it? The Galaxy Squadron, the Micro Galaxy
Yes.
Squadron
Oh,
figures.
cool. Yeah.
I made the display out of balsa wood, Black Series boxes. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I love the way the Micro Galaxy Squadron does scale perfectly with the 6-inch line as almost its own 6-inch figures. You know, it
Yeah.
works out really well. That's a very cool idea, man.
And with that one came, oh, let me get my chair back. With that one came a custom character too. Let me grab him. This is Nixon. He's running that shop.
Oh, that's cool.
He's also writ dyed. I took his arms, legs off, all of that. Changed him a
Man.
little bit.
Now let's see. What is the base of that figure? I can't tell
It
exactly.
was actually one that you recently picked up. It's Rio Durant.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, yeah. What a great figure that is, right?
I really love him. He's awesome. I love that he's got 4 arms, and it shows me that they should be able to make a pawn crawl.
Exactly, right? Just come on, make it happen, right? I know. You know, there were so many bangers from the Solo subline, like from a few years ago. I know people weren't crazy about that movie, but I mean, there were some absolutely great, fantastic figures that came from that wave.
They're
And
really
yeah,
My
yeah,
favorite thing is that people really didn't love that movie. So like a lot of those characters aren't that familiar to everyone. So you can take those characters and customize them into other stuff and they don't really like ring a bell to, they're not pulling.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, I think that movie it'll probably what's the word? It'll probably grow in popularity like the Phantom Menace did over the years because it's really a pretty decent movie from start to finish. There's a lot of fun things in it, I think, but I found the reason why I mention it is because it's another property that I'm drawing from lately for some of my custom creations. I feel like there's a lot of meat on the bone there with the different speeders, and they had some of the best trooper designs I thought in all of Star Wars. That particular
Definitely.
movie, yeah,
I
yeah.
love all the shore troopers, all of those, the Mimban troopers. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, right. The Mimbon. Yeah, they were awesome.
I like all the dirty stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think there's a lot of they had the Imperial Patrol Trooper on that really cool triangular speeder bike, and that was really a cool looking thing, you know. But yeah, you know, I and you know the what is it? The range trooper that they just released for Andor again with the bazooka. That was one of the coolest looking troopers I thought to come out in quite a while, you know, and I do see a lot of people using that as a base for their custom work lately. Um, but what are some of the figures that you like to use as like starting points? Is there anything in particular that you find yourself using over and over again?
Um, I really like. I don't have any right now because those are the ones that I sell more of. But
Mhm.
I like doing the first order troopers.
Yeah.
I
Oh
just
yeah.
like that. They're fun to make customs of, just like different squads, different stuff like that.
Yep.
I really like painting them black, so I got a thing for the black troopers. The blacked out ones are just really cool to me. So
Yep.
and then the battle damage and stuff, I'll add that to them. But I really like stormtroopers, clone troopers, any troop builders that I can build a squad of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bounty hunters that the what is it, the Death Watch Mandalorian that went pretty cheap for a while.
Such a great figure to use, right? Yeah.
That's a great body. He's got good articulation. He's great for customs.
Do you ever find that you're using any other figure lines to work into your customs, like Power Rangers or GI Joe, or any of those other kind of lines that go on clearance from time to time? Do you ever use those?
So I recently started picking up Power Rangers figures. I think I found them at Ross or something like that.
Hmm.
Ollie's probably, but yeah, no, those are pretty cool. They work great. They come with a lot of different accessories, which are pretty cool. I don't think I have anything handy right now.
Yeah.
Here we go. This was, I think, the Invisible Power Ranger original.
That is super cool, man.
Another,
Whoa, that's a Power Ranger head or
yeah. So he was translucent, pearlescent. He was pretty cool to begin with, but I think he's cooler now. But yeah, no, they got the Power Rangers line has some really cool figures. They're great for customs. I've noticed the Indiana Jones line is pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
I feel like those would make some good bases for figures.
Yeah.
Anything Ollie's has that's in 6-inch scale, I'll try it. The basketball players, I think I got that idea from you.
I find those to be an endless resource because you can have shirtless humans or humanoids of different heights, 100 different skin colors. They all take the Rit dye beautifully.
Yeah.
It's a great base. If I have one last message on Earth before I leave is buy the NBA figures and use them because they're just fantastic.
I mean, if anything, you can put a pair of sneakers on Darth Vader, and that's just
right. As a matter of fact, so on this particular figure, he's got some Jordans that I dyed black. And
that's awesome.
They actually look really cool. And in fact, I don't know if you saw, but I actually did a Darth Maul NBA crossover.
Okay.
And Darth Maul is wearing some custom dyed Air Jordans. And Darth Maul in a pair of Jordans looks pretty badass, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool,
I think the world needs more of that. I think with Lion sneakers too. So
right. It's funny because I actually have a couple of figures. Like there's some stormtroopers rocking some NBA jerseys, which I think is kind of cool. Like it's just fun. And that's the thing. Like, you take a figure line like Indiana Jones, and there's gonna be something that's a crossover compatible because they were both filmed by George Lucas at the same time, and it's all kind of the same actors. Like they all really work beautifully together. Yeah.
What was the other line too? The Marvel one, like they're also at Ollie's, but those work really well.
There's some Marvel Legends figures that I found that there's one particular figure from the Marvel Legends line. He's one of the Black Panther figures, and his name is M'Baku. He was like the big guy from a rival clan from the original Black Panthers movie, big, strong, muscular guy. And he's got this fantastic head that fits beautifully. Like the ball peg is exactly the same as almost every other Star Wars figure in G.I. Joe. And that particular M'Baku figure is like a 1-to-1 perfect match for customizing. And so I've purchased many of that particular figure and have them. I have about 6 of them ready to go for customs, and you got, like, you're right. You gotta, when you find a good one, stock up on them at Ollie's,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See those coupons, they give you that like 10% coupon you can use on your entire order. It's a good place. I love Ollie's.
Definitely. Yeah.
And where there's Ollie's, there's always a Ross nearby.
I know, seriously, right? Except for in my area where I live. I live way the hell out on Cape Cod, which is an island in Massachusetts, essentially, and it's slim pickings out here. But I do know of a Ross. It's about an hour away, but it's about an hour away from the Ollie's, so it's got a long drive.
Maybe not worth it for you.
Yeah, maybe. I go if I'm heading off Cape, and I'll stop by if I'm in the general vicinity for sure. And my wife always knows. She's like, "Oh God, we got to go pick up 8 M'Baku figures or something." I'm like, "Yeah, that's great," but yeah. So what are you currently working on now that is going to be like your project going through the summer, or do you have several?
I've got a few. Some aren't even fully started yet. They're only on paper.
Yep.
I showed you the toy shop. That
Yes.
one's still not done. So I got some plans for that one, which maybe when this goes online, you might have some people watching that could help me out. I'm looking for those Raspberry Pi screens. They got like 2-inch screens, right?
Yeah.
I want to put one of those in it and have like your guys' YouTube channels playing on, because I feel
that would be rad, man.
Toy reviews playing in there. heavily
Okay.
on Mandalorian. So if anybody know how that stuff works, let me know. But
Okay.
there's so many ideas I got to add to that. And then, like I said, this desert city, I've got a whole line of shops coming in there. I've got a cantina that I'm going to build. So there's a lot going on there. I've got here an idea.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. Yeah.
So we got my idea board here. There's the little map of the city. Let me set this down. So we got the map of what's gonna happen here. This is the little part that I have built.
Yep.
But I've got a lot to build. That's where my ideas go before they happen.
I love the fact that you have it mapped out, charted, and a blueprint. That's a great idea. Yeah.
I like to think that I think everything through before I do it, but I run into quite a few problems during still. So
So are you one who measures, to the millimeter, or are you more of a Kentucky windage? I'm just gonna a little bit of this and a little bit of that. How do you the diorama?
I'll measure it, I'll draw it all out and everything, and then by the time I'm building it, I'm wondering what the hell I even measured because nothing's fitting together right. But I do it.
Right.
Like, the effort's there. I'm trying.
Oh yeah. Now, do you have access to 3D printing, or is it all just your own creation with your hands?
I've not used anything 3D printed. My biggest go-to if I need something like that is I do have a 3-year-old son who is rough on his toys, so I get to recycle broken bits and pieces.
Oh, that's fantastic. Right.
Like
an endless supply of fodder, right?
Yeah. But that works really well. I get a bunch of pieces from him. I can man, I'm sorry for moving the camera so much, but
don't worry about it.
So this little doorway, I don't know if I'm even looking. Yeah, this little doorway was a trailer, like the gate around a trailer that he had. I think this was the back gate for that same trailer.
What a great reuse of parts. Wow, that looks fantastic.
Yeah, you can use anything for anything. You just gotta want it.
I love, that's the beauty of doing what you do in particular is, you take a broken truck and you're now seeing the potential that it has. That's the reason why we do this, I think, is there's something satisfying about taking something otherwise that would be thrown away and turning it into a diorama of a cantina or a city, right?
Yeah.
That's the essence of art, man. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Like fuses on sale at Walmart in the clearance aisle. I mean, you can use anything. Some things you don't even have to paint. They just look like they belong there anyway. So
yeah. Well, what I'd like to do is, so here we are, we're kind of coming to the end of it, and I'm hoping that you wouldn't mind revisiting this. Let's say maybe around mid-August, late August, and we'll take a look at the city and take a look at what you've done, the progress you've made on that piece, and some other things. Would you mind coming back in a couple of months and catching
definitely.
up?
I'm hoping that toy shop should be done. We might even have a cantina by then. So
that'd be great. And you know what we'll do is on Saturday for the next Stone and Hyper episode, I'm going to announce that we have this episode up and running for the following Friday. I'm going to revisit. I'm going to say, hey, anybody help out old Eric at Galactic Artisan Customs? He's got some questions, and I'll send them to this video. Okay, so
that'd be awesome. Thank you.
You bet, man. You bet. Eric, thank you so much for doing this with me, and I hope we can do this again. I'm looking forward to the updates, and take care, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, well, thanks for having me. It's been fun. Hopefully we can do this again. And I can't wait to see you guys on the Stone and Hyper show.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, I am a co-host of a bi-weekly show called the Stone and Hyper Show on Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with my good friend, the Stone Mandalorian. He and I have a show together, and we have great people like Eric here who tune in. And we'd love to have you join us. Thank you so much for looking. We'll do it again soon. Peace.